Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Weekends here on AM 1170. The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty. Powered by EXP Realty.
Yeah.
I should gotta start saying that. I
got
gotta get used to that.
Is it official?
I'm officially over. The rest of the team's coming over tomorrow, so it's exciting. Right. Yeah,
nice.
We're
Congrats,
very excited about the move. Also in studio, we got Jason Hall with Team Home Loans, Dan Maurer with Sequoia West. Before the break, we were talking with Dan about some of the situations where they're really able to come in, help somebody out if they're in a tough situation. You know, you guys recently helped somebody avoid foreclosure. I know, one of the things that happens a lot when flipping homes is you run into some of these hoarder situations. You run into people that maybe have some mental incapacities and they just need help. So it's cool that you guys are out there. That's the unglamorous side of the job. TV just shows you the glamorous side where you take an ugly house, make it pretty, and make a bunch of money. But
buy it at 100. We put 100 in, we sold for 400, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not all sunshine and roses. It is not always the funnest job out there. But when you do make it all pretty and sell it and make money, that part's fun, right? That's the pretty part of the job.
For every one easy one you get, you always get two hard ones. So,
so tell us about a hard one. What's a hard one to you? And what's one that's dragged on? That's the first thing I think of is, as an investor, if I get my money in something, you're hoping to turn and get that money back. But, sometimes because of real estate laws and things that happen, you've probably had to hold on to things longer than you guys anticipated. I don't know if you want to share the horror stories, but I'm always thinking that side. But I also want to hear another good positive story. You mentioned the one person going through foreclosure, but love to hear another story, whether it was a family. Because I see a lot of family inherent property, as Kyle was mentioning, from maybe somebody who was a hoarder, and they don't know what to do, and they're kind of emotionally attached. And, they're looking like, hey, maybe I just call one of these signs or call somebody to see if they'll just come by the house, and we just want to cash out and move on.
Yeah, we get pretty creative on that stuff too, and really where we can differentiate ourselves a lot of times is the terms of the contract. So a lot of times we'll actually assume tenant situations. So maybe there's a tenant that hasn't been paying rent, or they're in an eviction situation. We've handled that.
Yeah, that's unique because most buyers won't. Most buyers want that tenant out.
Yeah, for us, we have to kind of have enough volume going, so we're willing to assume those risks to buy more deals. That we kind of need to look at every scenario. So those are the ones that typically drag on a little bit longer. Most of the times we try to work through that on a cash for keys situation where we can offer some money for the tenant to help them move. Right. Yeah, and just take a situation that instead of them having an eviction on their record or going through that whole scenario, just here's money to help you move and get you on your feet and move on. The hoarder stuff, we've paid, we've bought houses that are just filled with leftover stuff and we've just taken care of it. And those are usually the situations where somebody passes away and then the family owns they own the property and they don't know what to do. So we can come in and handle that stuff. And then we've also been looking at a lot of really interesting types of properties lately. So just bought a property in Imperial Beach, and it's got 3 houses on it, but it's got like a potential development play where we can do a lot split and add value. So we're looking at stuff like that, little outside the box. Just bought 3 houses on 3 separate lots, but you can't actually sell them individually at the moment. You have to work with utility companies to actually make them sellable individually. So we're looking at all these kind of obscure, hard to value, hard to analyze properties that do take a little bit longer, but if they have the profit margin, we're willing to look at those.
And I've seen that where somebody decided, hey, we got enough room, let's build another house, and then, hey, we'll just split the electricity line and the water line, and we run it off the same water line and the same electricity, which that's where it becomes difficult, and that's why the city doesn't say it's separate. Now you've got to actually bring in those utilities and maybe pay the city to do that. But I've seen a few that I've just been amazed. They've been around 30, 50, 60, 70 years. This is the way they've always done. Well, we get the water bill, we get the electricity bill, and we just cut it in half, or maybe in your case, we cut it in a third, and everybody just kind of pays because we don't know who used what,
right?
Because we're all on one meter.
Absolutely. Again, you're listening to Whissel Weekends here on AM 1170. The Answer. If you want to get connected with Dan, Sequoia West, or any of the guests we've ever had on the show, call us, text us, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. Dan, let's talk about some of the surprises that people are in store for when they want to get into flipping. Because everybody wants to be a flipper. We've talked, it's not always so glamorous. What are some of the other surprises that come up in the process of being a flipper?
It's an there's a lot. It's, you never kind of know what's going to happen. You never really know. You plan for the best and you try to price your properties accordingly depending on like the risk level. So, we'll take care of foundation issues and we've worked through, roof issues and things like that.
But have you come across a foundation issue that you guys didn't know had a foundation problem after you became an owner?
And then you're
That's
just
something, right?
if the seller didn't know about it and they didn't, tell us about it, then it's, we uncovered it and then we have to deal with it. So that's obviously a big thing is change orders. There's a lot of times when, you anticipate a budget to be whatever it is, and then it's, $20,000-$30,000 more, and maybe you've held the property because of that, you're holding the property for an extra 3 months, and then all of a sudden your 4 or 5 month hold period is shot, your budget's gone up, and now maybe the market didn't move in your favor. And all of a
It's
sudden
great
you're
when
lucky
the
to break
market
even.
moves, right? So when the market's gone up during that time, hey, that's, you're okay.
Yep.
Right? But a lot of times the market maybe is just starting to slow down and stabilize, and you don't have that gain.
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't always go up. Although we've been very fortunate the
Mhm.
past, 6-7 years we've been talking about it now, Kyle. I mean, it's been a very good market, but I think we're starting to see it slow down a little bit to where it's not getting, a 10, 12% return like it was during the, 13 to 15, 16 run, but it's still getting that, 3 to 8% return on most stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we stay at that kind of a appreciation rate. I think that that's something that we can actually sustain for the long haul. If you look at a lot of the states like in the Midwest, that's just what they've always done. Even Texas, although starting to blow up a little bit, but most of the time, if you can just have a nice sustainable 3 to 5% growth every year, that stays in line with wages, it stays in line with inflation, and that is a sustainable growth rate, as opposed to the alternative where we've had years in the past that are 20+% up, 20+% down. That's not healthy. That's how you end up with booms and busts like we've had in the past. So the fact that we've been pretty consistent around that 5% for the last 5-6 years, I'm loving it. I think it's great for the market. It's stable. And believe it or not, interest rates have actually been ticking up. People aren't necessarily paying attention to it, but they've been going up so incrementally that people don't even realize it, which is good. Because we've all known that rates have to come up a little bit. They can't stay at 3 or 4% forever. They've got to tick up a little bit.
I guess it's a good question, right? They don't really realize it until they go to get a loan. Then they're like, what? Right? Like I literally had somebody going, well, I thought I was going to get 3 1/4. This was yesterday. I'm like, why do you think you're going to get 3 1/4? Well, I have a 3 1/4 on my current loan. Well, just because you got your current loan a couple years ago at 3 1/4 doesn't mean today it's 3 1/4. You don't get to transfer that loan. The current rates are now in the mid 4s, right? And that's when people are like, whoa, a $375,000 condo, this guy was thinking he was going to get for $1,800. When we started running the numbers, it's like $2,500.
It's a big jump.
It's a big jump. Now the rate was only like $100, $200, but part of it was most clients don't realize what their payment's going to be. They're thinking it's a principal interest because when you go to like a mortgage calculator online, they're just talking about the lowest interest rate and they give you a principal and interest. They don't talk about property taxes, fire insurance. In this case, there was HOAs. They're not really giving you the best expectations. And a lot of time they're going to assume you're putting 20 to 30% down, which most first-time home buyers are not. That's,
Absolutely.
That most of them are putting 0 to 5% down. So that's the wake-up call. But I hear what you're saying. Most people don't realize it until they buy, Kyle.
Right.
And so that's going to, I'm starting to see some people, well, maybe I can't buy 375. Maybe I need to look at 325, right? And that's where we see possibly the rates slowing down a little bit of the appreciation of the homes, but we don't know. It depends on the income because the incomes are coming out pretty good right now too. So the tax cut, everybody's excited about that. People are starting to see that now in their take-home pay. I was talking to one of my friends whose wife's a teller at the bank. They ran out of hundreds this week. They had 125,000 hundreds gone, chase. They called all the chases in El Cajon, Rancho San Diego. All of them were out of hundreds. I go, what's going on? They're like, these people are coming in with their tax refunds, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, much larger than they anticipated, and they're afraid to put the money in the bank because if you put the money in the bank, the government can take it back out. So they're cashing their checks and apparently, keeping this cash at home in a vault or whatever. Everybody wants cash because they can't believe how much they have in tax refunds. So the good news is that's probably going to stimulate the economy once they start to spend that cash, and these tax refunds are coming in more and more coming in March and April. But I was amazed that Chase ran out of hundreds because it was more than they expected.
It's crazy when the bank runs out of money.
Yeah.
The place you keep your money runs out of money.
I've seen it happen. I mean, I used to work at the banks years ago, and I've seen it happen because all they can do is forecast how much cash they think they need at each branch. And if you all of a sudden get tons more withdrawals, that's what happens. I mean, I'd hate to see, like what happened in the Great Depression where everybody came running to the bank and everybody wanted their money, right? There's still some concerned people, what happens there. But now most people think, hey, the negative side is U.S. dollar might be worthless, so why do they want to go to the bank?
Right.
And that's why you have cryptocurrency way up. You have gold now starting to rebound. A lot of that's happening because that's the offset to the U.S. dollar.
I love it. You're listening to Whissel Weekends, AM 1170, The Answer. If you want to get connected with Dan at Sequoia West, Jason over at Team Home Loans, give us a call. Shoot us a text, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. Dan, we got a couple minutes before the break. Are you guys projecting values higher or lower over, when you guys tie up a new flip, are you thinking, well, by the time we get this thing rehab, put it on the market, the value is going to be a little higher than it is based on today's comps, or are you sticking to today's comps?
It's an interesting question, and it's really case by case. So it depends on the type of the neighborhood it's in and what the trajectory of that neighborhood has been. So if you look like an area like in Canto, where it's really gone, homes were selling at like 400,000 a year ago. Now they're at 475. We'll add a little bit of a premium above where we think the property will sell if we believe there's upside potential, and that would be like there's a view or there's an extra garage or there's some extra curb appeal or something that's unique that may deliver a higher value. But most of the time we'll comp the property where we think we can sell it for today, and that's just a risk adjustment. Because, we don't know when we're ever going to be at the peak. And if we're, kind of the point before, if we project 5% above or 3% above, and then all of a sudden the market stays flat, well, there's our profit.
Profit could be gone.
So, we're trying to be...
usually you're safe. You guys usually are being safe. But you said case by case, on each situation. How about you, Kyle? What's your feeling? I mean, you're the real estate guru. Your team does more transactions than anybody in San Diego. You guys continue to kick butt. Where do you see the market? What's going on right now at Whissel Realty?
So we're going to head to a break, but when we get back, we are going to talk about my predictions for the real estate market here in San Diego in 2018. You are listening to Whissel Weekends, AM 1170, The Answer.